Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ryan Beach and I am the principal trumpet player with the Alabama Symphony Orchestra, and I also have a podcast called That's Not Spit, It's Condensation. I'm partnering up with Houghton Horns to bring you a review of this Bach C190 trumpet. The only time I've had any experience or exposure with playing one of these instruments is when I borrowed it for a few minutes from somebody at the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music, and I just thought it sounded so great. I was kind of blown away with how good the horn sounded and how easy it was to produce that I've been wanting to get my hands on one. So this opportunity is really cool for me, and I'm excited to share what I think with all of you. To be as transparent as possible, I got these instruments about 4 or 5 days ago, and I have to send them back in about 2 days. That's just the way the scheduling worked out. And so today, when I recorded these videos, is actually the first time I got to play on this instrument and to see what I think. So I thought it was a pretty unique opportunity to actually share with you my very first notes on the instrument and how I got used to it and what I just thought of that process. I ended up recording my entire practice session, and I'm going to use that to help talk about these 5 different categories that I kind of listen for when I'm going through testing out a horn. The 5 categories are going to be sound or tone. The second category is articulation or response. The third is going to be flexibility or slotting. The fourth is going to be the upper and lower registers of the horn, and number 5 is going to be the dynamic range. The first category we're going to talk about is sound. If I don't really feel like I connect with the sound of an instrument, I'm pretty unlikely to continue playing it longer and longer, just because I feel like I might as well find an instrument that I do like the sound for. And to be honest, this is probably the standout thing about this instrument, is the sound that it makes. Right from my first notes, when I was doing the Chickowitz flow studies in my warm-up, I really just felt like I was taking a breath, and then I was just hearing the sound that I heard in my head come out the other end of the bell. Overall, I feel that the sound this instrument produces is very flexible. At the loudest end of it, it really holds together and it feels very easy to play soft. We'll get into that in the dynamic range part of it, but I just really connected with the sound of this instrument right away. The next category we're going to cover is articulation or response. Now, I feel that the response of this instrument is great. It's not necessarily the best I've ever felt with an instrument, but it's more than enough for me to feel very secure while playing it. When I was first playing in the beginning of my practice session, I might airball a note or two or sort of not have a note speak when I wanted it to, but this definitely got better the more that I played with it, showing me that as I learned about this instrument, the response became even more reliable than it was to start. Overall, the articulation of the response to this instrument really provided a sense of confidence and security when I was playing it. The third category we're going to cover is going to be flexibility or slotting. By flexibility, I just mean how easy is it to get around the instrument, and by slotting, I mean how easy is it to find the center of each of the notes. You'll hear in some of these flexibility exercises that I'm going to share that it took me a second to kind of figure out where the center of each of these notes were, but I did find that it was consistently in the same place. So even though there was an adjustment period, once I kind of figured out where it was, I could count on it being there each and every time. Overall, I feel like the flexibility and the slotting of this instrument is good. It's not necessarily the best I've ever felt, but it's definitely more than good enough to feel like I could get around the instrument easily and find the center of the notes with reliability. The fourth category we're going to cover is going to be the upper and the lower register of this instrument. Now, the upper register of this instrument felt great when I first started playing, but as I went on in my practice session, I'm actually going to share a clip with you that it started to feel a lot harder to find the center of the pitches. I know we're talking about up there around high C, high D, high E, but it just became more difficult. But this would just be an adjustment period for me. I'm going to totally chalk it up to I'm not used to the instrument, because when I first started playing, it all felt great, and it was just very easy for me to play like I normally do and access the upper register. The lower register of this instrument feels very strong to me as well. My favorite low register so far that I've played was on this Shire's trumpet that I reviewed before, but this is pretty close. It's definitely, you can find the center of these notes, and I don't feel like there's any barriers or any weird centering issues. I can just sort of play, and the sound is full and focused down in low register. The final category we're going to cover is going to be the dynamic range of this instrument. This is one of my favorite parts about it as well, is that especially when I play loud, this instrument can handle it. I can tongue very hard and there's just no problem. When I play soft, the notes are where I expect them to be. I really enjoyed trying to expose the dynamic range of this instrument. Overall, I feel like there's a lot of color to be had with this instrument, which as an orchestral player is pretty paramount. I need to be able to play very loud dynamics, very soft dynamics, and be able to do it with confidence. All right, everybody, that's going to be all for this video. I hope this was helpful for me to go through the C190, kind of talk about what I thought about it and share some recordings, but you should definitely let me know down in the comments what you thought about this horn as well. If you enjoyed this video or found it to be interesting, I would really appreciate it if you would like it down below. And don't forget to subscribe to Houghton Horns so you can stay up to date on all of the content that they're producing regularly on this channel. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.